Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel Rafalovich, the Rav of Kremenchuk. Chasidim relate that when Rabbi Yasha Tumarkin, which was Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel's father-in-law, which was the previous Rav of Kremenchuk, passed away, so the city were looking for a Chashiv Rav for the Chashiv city. At that time, his son-in-law, Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel Rafalovich, was there in the city, and he was a younger man. He was 22 years old. He just got married. He was Taka, the son-in-law of the previous Rav, and everybody recognized his great Krishroinos and Geoinos. However, the Chashiv Yidden in the city were not satisfied with appointing a 22-year-old as the Rav of Kremenchuk, and they turned instead to one of the most famous Geoinim of the generation, the Malbim, and they offered him the job. Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel traveled to the Rebbe Maharash then, and the Rebbe Maharash surprisingly told him in Yichidus, go to Kremenchuk and become the Rav instead of your father-in-law. So Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel asked the Rebbe Maharash, but they said that the Malbim was already chosen for this position and is actually on his way to Kremenchuk. And the Rebbe Maharash answered, farter, aber du wirst sein der Rav dorten. He's traveling, let him travel, but you will be the Rav there. And this was cryptic, nobody really understood what the Rebbe meant. However, a short while later, the Malbim passed away, and everybody understood what the Rebbe Maharash meant. So they all turned to Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel now that the Rebbe Maharash told him to become the Rav, and everybody knew him as a big goyin, and he became the Rav. The Frierdiker Rebbe once related about this, that Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel became the son-in-law of Rabbi Yasha Tumarkin in a young age, and then his father-in-law Rabbi Yasha passed away, and he was appointed to be the Rav. The salary for the Rabbanus was not enough to support him and his family. So Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel entered Yichidus with the Rebbe Maharash, and he complained that he doesn't have Parnasa. So the Rebbe answered him, Parnasa? Sfiras HaMalchus asks Zah for Parnasa. Zah asks for Parnasa from Moichin in general, and specifically from Bina. Sfiras Bina asks for Parnasa from Chachma, and Chachma asks for Parnasa from the source of Parnasa. V'Chachma me'ayin timatzeh. And then the Rebbe added, do you see the sun? This was during the sunset time. And the Rebbe said, the sun also asks for Parnasa, and it receives it. And the Rebbe finished off, until your old age, I think it means like for the rest of his life, you will not be missing any Parnasa. The Frierdiker Rebbe also once related that Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel Rafalovich, the Rav of Kremenchuk, was once by the Rebbe Maharash on Rosh Hashanah, and he heard the Rebbe Maharash blowing a trua of 24 sounds. And he didn't understand why, and he was, during Tkiyas, trying to figure out in his head why 24 sounds. And he was thinking maybe you should go into the Rebbe Maharash to ask, and he didn't tell anyone about it. When he entered Yechidus with the Rebbe Maharash told him, what do you think? Machshava Zares means only when somebody thinks of shtusim, of nonsense. No, even if you think of something holy, but it's not the proper thing to think at that moment, it's a different topic, that's also Machshava Zares. Frierdiker Rebbe also once related that at the year of Tafresh Mem Zayin, my father, the Rebbe Rashab, was very busy with learning Imre Bina of the Mittel Rebbe, specifically Shar Kriyas Shema, chapters 12 and 13, which discuss the concepts of Helem, Vegilui, Koyach, Upoyol, Etzem, Vespashtus, which are deep concepts of Chassidus. And my father, the Rebbe Rashab, wrote a whole letter with a shaila to the Chassid in Kremenchuk, the famous maskil, Reb Chaim Ber Vilansky, asking him some question in Imre Bina. But Reb Chaim Ber did not answer the Rebbe Rashab. When the Rav, Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel, came to Lubavitch, my father, the Rebbe Rashab, told him, I wrote a letter to Reb Chaim Ber, and he didn't answer me. So when Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel returned to Kremenchuk, he gave a chelik, he rebuked Reb Chaim Ber. How come the Rebbe sent you a letter with a question and you don't answer him? So Reb Chaim Ber answered, the Rebbe asked me a question in Chassidus and in Rebina. So Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel asked, so why didn't you answer him? So Reb Chaim Ber said, don't worry, the Rebbe will manage without me. So the next year, when Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel came back to Lubavitch, he told the Rebbe Rashab what Rebbe Chaim Ber said, that the Rebbe could manage without him. So the Rebbe Rashab told him, when I asked him that shaila, my intention wasn't that he should teach me that piece in Im Ravina. My intention was just to find out how could somebody explain that piece in Im Ravina only with human seichel. In other words, the Rebbe obviously manages to understand Im Ravina by himself, but he has his own godly koiches. He wanted to hear how a chassid who haravid and got to the explanation with his own human seichel understands it. Even though in the first years, Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel was just getting a salary as a Rav, and we already mentioned before that he asked the Rebbe Maharash for parnasa, and the Rebbe Maharash said that he will not be missing any parnasa. So that happened, and eventually he became very wealthy. Because one day he saw a sign on the street of some big company from France that manufactured certain type of shoes, and they were looking for an agent to be their agent in Russia, in the whole entire Russia. So Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel applied, and he got the job, and he became the agent of that company in the whole entire Russia. And he opened up right away 10 branches all over the country, and became very wealthy. After the Rebbe Rashab's Nesius started, Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel was one of the chief supporters of the Rebbe Rashab, both financially, the Askanas Tziburis, and also in the fight of the Rebbe Rashab against those who were fighting against religion. Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel Rafalovich once related, once when I was in Lubavitch, they invited me to eat on Shabbos in the house of the Rebbe Rashab. And by the Suda, they served different foods to the table, but I couldn't eat them because I suffered from a certain stomach condition, so I had to be on a special diet. The Rebbe Rashab noticed that I'm not eating, and he asked me, why aren't you eating? So I answered, the Rebbe knows that I have this condition and I have this special diet. So the Rebbe Rashab answered me, Shabbos food doesn't hurt. So if the Rebbe said, I ate everything there, and it didn't hurt me. Nothing happened. So the next Shabbos, I was back home, and I told my wife, from now on, Shabbos, you could cook whatever you want, and there's no reason to worry. The Rebbe Rashab said that Shabbos food doesn't hurt, and I ate all the regular foods that Shabbos, but then I got a terrible, terrible pain. I was literally in a life danger. So it seems, ended off Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel, that only when the Rebbe said it, it helped. Reb Shaul Ber Zislin, which was from the first Mimim and later on became a Mashpia, so he related that when he was still a Bacher, the year of Tafir Samech Beis, he learned in Jembin, which was the branch of the yeshiva. And for Shavuos, our Mashpia, Shmuel Greinam, traveled to Lubavitch to the Rebbe. But he didn't give us, the Talmidim, permission to travel to the Rebbe for Shavuos. However, me and 2 other friends decided to go to the Rebbe for Shavuos without permission. When we came to the train station in Krasnoy, we saw over there our Mashpia, Reb Greinam, who did not give us permission. And he was over there sitting and speaking with the famous Rabbanim, Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel Rafalovich, the Rav of Kremenchuk, and Rebbe Lazar Moshe Madievsky, the Rav of Charol. Rebbe Greinam was upset at us. How come we left without permission? However, Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel Rafalovich was in a good-spirited mood, and he was a generous man, and he spoke to us in a very friendly way. Eventually, when Rebbe Greinam and the other 2 Rabbanim went on the wagon, we looked at them from far, and the truth is, we didn't have any money to continue traveling. And then suddenly, Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel, the Rav of Kremenchuk, asked us, with a smile and a loud voice, Nu Kinder, was rechnet ihr? Nu kids, what did you decide? Meaning, what are you going to do about the rest of the way? So we answered that we decided to walk by foot the rest of the way. So Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel turned to Rebbe Greinam and said, Nu Rebbe Greinam, Pago alai, pago alaich, and let him come on, meaning let's split the price of these 3 Bachrim, half on me, half on you, and let him come on to the wagon with us. And that's what happened. In the Fabrengen of Simchas Torah, Tov Reish Pei Aleph, this was already in the Nesius of the Fidik Rebbe. Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel Rafalovich was there by the Fabrengen. And by the Fabrengen, Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel turned to the Fidik Rebbe and he asked, Rebbe, zogt chsidis, should say a maimer. And the Fidik Rebbe didn't answer. After a while, Rebbe Yitzchok Yoel asked again, Rebbe, zogt chsidis. And again, the Frierdiker Rebbe didn't answer. When he asked for a third time, the Frierdiker Rebbe answered, if you want to hear some haskalah in Chassidus, if I would just open up my mouth, all of you will all close your mouths. The 25 years that I served my father, even a rock will change from that. And especially that I am my father's son. But this is if you're asking me to say haskalah. If you want to say Chassidus, this is what Chassidim say, that in order to say Chassidus, for 24 hours before you say Chassidus, your kishkes have to tune over inside you before you say Chassidus. In the end of his life, Rabbi Yitzchok Yoel became very weak, and he couldn't continue with his job as a Rav anymore, and he moved to Yerushalayim, to Eretz HaKodesh. And he passed away at the age of 78, Tes Vav Tammuz, Tov Reish, Tzadik Vav. Finish off with Nigun Reish in the Sefer HaNigunim, the Geschmacke Nigun song by Reb Eli Lipsker, Olav Shalom.
Yeah.